Okay, let us quickly see the contents what we have discussed in the last classes. Okay, I think due to the technical problem, the last class I may not be able to take the class for the full session. Only 15 minutes duration I have taken the class. Just wait a moment. Okay, so once again I'm going to see whenever there is a technical problem, just stay tuned to this particular session for 5 minutes. So more than 5 minutes means obviously you may leave the session, particularly while coming to my signals and systems class. Okay, right. Again, for the people who are absent and who are missed the session what we have uh, discussed in the last class, just for the people I'm going to again revise the topics that what we have studied in the chapter number 3. Okay, I'm taking the full control over the session. Still, if you are having any doubts regarding any point of view, just raise your hand so that I can able to give you the control. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen here. Right, now let us quickly see the topics what we have covered in this. Right, now sampling, we have started a sampling. So before going to start any new topic or new chapter, first of all you people should identify what are the applications, why do we need to study about that particular topic, and where do we find the applications. See, these two are very very important. That may be any chapter. Okay, so as far as the sampling is concerned, the process of converting, already we have discussed about this point in the chapter number 1 also. The process of converting continuous time signals to discrete time signals is called sampling. See, always because of our convenience, we are converting the continuous time domain signals to discrete time domain signals. Why? Because the digital devices are less cost over analog devices. So that is where the accuracy of the digital devices is also very, very higher than the analog devices. So that's why we are always using the digital equipment in our electrical engineering applications. Okay. So this is for our convenience. We are converting analog signals to discrete signal, but the final intention is again we need to get the same continuous time signal at the output also. Okay, so in order to reconstruct the original data, see, without loss of data, you must remember this point. We do not want to miss any data in between any two consecutive samples. Okay, if we miss the data means obviously there is a discontinuity is there. Discontinuity, if the discontinuity is there, obviously we are not able to get the original signal. ఓకే, సో ఇప్పుడు నేను మాట్లాడుతున్నాను కదండి, ఇలా కంటిన్యూస్గా మాట్లాడుతూనే ఉన్నాను. సపోజ్ ఇఫ్ దెర్ ఈస్ ఎనీ network problem, obviously my voice is cutting, and you may listen, or you may listen the words, only few words. You will not listen the words in between the two successive words. Okay, so కట్ అయిపోతూ వస్తుంది. So this is also one example of the sampling. So in order to get the original data, or in order to get the reconstruction of original signal, we must select the sampling frequency must be higher than the frequency. So sampling frequency fs by 2 must be greater than the maximum component of the original signal. So that is the important point you need to remember, right? Now, see, this is a mathematical formulation already we have seen. So where x of nt is the sampled value of the signal x of t, where n is the time index, capital T is the fundamental time period. So at what time period you need to sample, you need to apply sampling. Sampling is nothing but just measuring the amplitude at that particular instant of time. Okay, at that particular instant of time. That is the only point you need to remember. So this is the mathematical expression. So initially I have taken x of t is equal to sine omega t, and small t is equal to n into capital T. So small t is a continuous time, n into capital T is nothing but a discrete instance of time. So if we replace t with nt, you will get the sine n omega n into t. Now, if we are equating omega, now see here, now see here, omega Omega multiplied by capital T is equal to, I have taken omega, this is the angular frequency. So where omega is equal to omega into capital T. Okay. Now after that, alias time domain aliasing is a very very important disadvantage that you should overcome before going to uh, find out the sampled inputs or sampled output signal. What is the time domain aliasing? Time domain aliasing is nothing but some distorted output waveform. If you are getting a distorted output waveform at the output of your digital device, obviously you should not get or you should not reconstruct the original data from that sampled data. Why? Because already that is a distorted waveform. Already that is a distorted waveform. So which is deviated from the nominal or normal frequencies. See, what is a distorted signal? That signal deviates from the normal signal or nominal signal. So that is the So distorted signal is nothing but the signal which is deviates from the normal or nominal signal. So if the time domain aliasing occurs, if the time domain aliasing occurs in your device, obviously you should not get the original data or you should not reconstruct the original data as it is. So this is a very important disadvantage. You should overcome this. How should we overcome the time domain aliasing? Just by selecting proper values of the sampled frequency or the sampled rate. Okay, now please see here. So these are the three cases which will explains the time domain aliasing. So if in the first case and second case you are applying two sine waves of different samples as given as a inputs to ADC, A to D converter, and you are getting the outputs like this. Okay, now two different sine waves. See, this is a sine wave and this is a sine wave. So this is of different sample and this is of different sample. But in this case, the two sinusoidal signals are having the same samples. Now the waveform is looks like this. Waveform is looks like this. This illustration. This so last figure illustrates the example of time domain aliasing. So these are distorted waveform. So how? Please let me know. Let me tell you the important concept here. Now see the sample. Your samples are at a 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So like this, you are getting the samples. How do you get the original data? What is the original data here? So this is the original data. So one sinusoidal signal is having 40 Hz frequency, another sinusoidal signal has a 10 Hz signal. But finally, after sampling, you are getting a frequency of sample signal is equal to 30 Hz. So you may not get 10 Hz, you may not get 40 Hz. So how do you get a 10 Hz or 40 Hz from the 30 Hz? It is not possible. So that is why this is the time domain aliasing effect that you should overcome this, right? Nyquist frequency. So as we just now discussed about the aliasing effect, so we should select the proper value of frequency. So Fs by 2 must be greater than or equal to Fm, where Fs is the sampled frequency, or it is also called as a Nyquist frequency. So always the frequency selected frequency must be uh, greater than or equal to 2 into Fm, where Fm is the maximum frequency component that is present in the given input signal. Okay, now see here. So the last one, Fs must be greater than or equal to 2 into Fm, 2 into Fm. Now this is the see, this is a very very important formula. Sometimes in your gate exam directly you have been asked to give the expression for having the relation between sampling frequency and maximum frequency. So sampling frequency must be greater than or equal to 2 into Fm. So this is a direct relation you should remember. Now later on we have seen this generalized sampling theorem. This is also called as ideal sampling. Okay, ideal sampling. Ideal sampling. What do you mean by ideal sampling? See, in universe there is no ideal cases or there is no ideal devices are existing. But as far as the analysis is concerned, we are going to consider that device is a ideal. Okay. Now see here why I am saying ideal sampler here. Now please see. So for this particular signal, I have taken a sinusoidal waveform like this, and I have given sinusoidal input as one of the input to the summer and train of impulses, which are defined from minus infinity to plus infinity, is another input. And finally, the convolution of x of t with the delta t of t will gives you the sampled output signal, and you will get the sampled output signal as x of nt like this. Okay, like this. See, why I am saying the sampling here in this particular case, why I am saying delta t of t is nothing but an ideal sampling. This ideal sampler means actually what is a sample? Now see here, the exactly sample is nothing but this one. Just wait a moment. Now see, please, all of you look at this. This is what the actual sample, it is nothing but a pulse, okay, pulse, which is defined from 0 to, suppose, let us consider this as t, with a pulse duration of p seconds. This is the actual pulse. But now see, if we make the pulse duration p is equal to 0, so this is the practical sampler. This is the practical sampler. Now if we make p is equal to 0, obviously that will leads to this one. This is the ideal sampler. So if you consider a sample, what is the pulse duration? There is no pulse. So pulse duration p is equal to 0 for that particular ideal sampler. So that is why this type of sampling is called ideal sampler. This type of sampler is called ideal sampler or ideal sampling. Ideal sampling. Okay. Right. Now already we have derived the proof also. So excess of t is equal to the sampled value of the input signal. So that will be equal to x of t multiplied by delta t of t. So we already know that the delta t of t. See, already I have explained all these things in the last class. Again, we need not discuss much about this one. So now this waveform will clearly gives you the information regarding how we are going to reconstruct the original data based on the frequency what we have taken. See, case 1 is the original frequency, and now see, if we select the cutoff frequency omega m is equal to pi by t. So here we need to use the low pass filter for eliminating the higher frequency components. So if we eliminate the higher frequency components, so what is the data, or what is the signal you will get if we eliminate the, now see here, so if I select the these two frequencies are the low pass filter frequencies. So the frequencies which are higher than delta m should be avoided or should be neglected. Okay, these are getting eliminated from the device. So now what is the only thing or only signal that you are having in this particular case is this one, triangular waveform. Now in this case, it is possible to reconstruct the original data if we select the cutoff frequency omega m is equal to pi by t. Now see here in the second case, what happens if we select pi by t must be greater than omega m. Now see, this is nothing but the gap which is in between two successive samples. So if we place the low pass filter in between those two gaps, obviously again in this case also you need to get the original data. So that is this one. Okay, but whereas we come to the third case, case 3, what happens if we choose the cutoff frequency is less than this one? Now see here, obviously you will have some overlapping between two successive samples. You will have some overlapping between two successive samples. That means in this particular case, you lost the data. Now see here, you lost this data. You lost this data, original data. So it is not possible to reconstruct the original data if we select the cutoff frequency that must be less than pi by t, pi by t. Okay. Now this is the case. Now this will clearly gives you the information regarding the sampling, that to ideal sampling, ideal sampling. Okay. So the next topic is anti-aliasing filter. Okay. In the last class, we have discussed that how do we eliminate the time domain aliasing field or time domain aliasing effect. This is an effect, serious effect you must consider before being proceeded to the digital device. Okay, once if you are transferring or once if you are sending the original data to the digital device, first of all you should eliminate the time domain aliasing effect that is present in the system. Then only it will be processed to the digital device, okay, for the conversion. And to avoid the time domain aliasing effect, we must choose the sampled frequency. Fs by 2 must be greater than or equal to Fm, or Fs must be greater than or equal to 2 into Fm. So the both are equal. Both are equal. Nothing different. There is no difference in those two cases. So you must select the frequency. Sampled frequency must be greater than or equal to 2 into Fm. Or now see here. So you can also use anti-aliasing filter. Anti-aliasing filter. So what the filter will do? So a filter that is used to reduce the higher frequency components of signals before it is sampled to reduce the aliasing is called an anti-aliasing filter. that means, so see here, see the block diagram. So where do we place this anti-aliasing filter? Just now we have discussed that before being fed to the digital device, if you want to transfer or if you want to send the original data, that is x of t, to the digital device, first of all before being proceeded to the digital device, you must apply it to the anti-aliasing filter. Now what that anti-aliasing filter will do, that filter will reduces the higher frequency components of the signals before it is sampled to reduce the aliasing. That means before being fed to the digital device, first of all it has to be passed through the anti-aliasing filter, so that filter will reduce the higher frequency components. So this is about the anti-aliasing filter. You must always place this anti-aliasing filter before the sampler. Now see here the sampler is shown like a switch. Now you just see this. Sampler is nothing but a switch. Sometimes I am mentioning that t is equal to 2 seconds. So if I mention capital T is equal to 2 seconds, means that sampler will convert continuous time domain signals to digital or discrete time domain signals by considering the sampling time period capital T is equal to 2 seconds. Capital T is equal to 2 seconds. That is the only case, right? Now, uh, as far as the sampling process is concerned, you will have three types of samplings are existing. The first one is ideal sampler. So what is a sampling? Just we have discussed in this case. That case comes under ideal sampling. So ideal sampling means the pulse duration p is equal to 0. But in universe there is no ideal sampler. The sampler will always produces a pulse, an impulse which is having some duration, pulse duration, that is called pulse duration. So that is why this is called pulse sampling, or you can also call it as a natural sampling. Both are same. Both are same. Again, one more sampling is also there. That is a flat top sampling. Flat top sampling. In general, you are asked to state and explain, or directly you have been asked to derive or state and explain the sampling theorem. Sampling theorem means earlier we have seen the impulse sampling. You directly write down the impulse sampling. Okay, impulse and that is a default case, unless particularly you are asked to write down about pulse or pulse sampling or flat top sampling. Direct default case you need to write down that ideal sampler case. That's enough, no problem at all. Now see here, in this particular case I am going to get the pulse train. See the earlier version, in the earlier case we have taken x of t as the one input to the sampler. That x of t is a sine waveform, and we have taken impulse train as an another input signal which have been applied to the summer. The summer will multiply both x of t and delta t of t, and which will produces the sampled output signal. Now in this case, instead of taking those impulses, so now see here, In the previous section, we considered the sampling process in which the signal x of t is multiplied by series of train of impulses. Series of train of impulses. Now see here. Now see here. So the series of train of impulses. So there is no pulse duration. So pulse duration is equal to 0. If we make pulse duration is equal to 0, now that is called as ideal sampler. But if you are considering the pulse duration means obviously that is not an ideal sampler. So that is also an impulse signal which is having some pulse duration, right? Now that is the case. So instead of series pulses having a width of tau with a time period of, it can be generated by changing the switch position. So how can we obtain the series of impulses? Series of impulses. We are replacing that series of train of impulses of having zero pulse duration is hardly feasible. Feasible means not possible. Okay, not possible. So in universe there is no ideal sampler. Always you should consider some finite pulse duration. How do we get the pulse duration? Now see here, again you are having a switch. Switch is always operated in between DC voltage and the ground. Either it is placed at 1 or it is placed at 2. Okay. Now let us see how we are getting the pulse durations. Now see here. If it is the switch is operated in between 1 and 2, now let us see how we are getting the impulses. Now you see here, you will have the first impulse and the second impulse. Now if you are getting 1 means obviously that the switch is at position 1, that is a DC voltage which is of having constant magnitude. Now see here, you do not have any data, that means it is equal to 0 means obviously the switch is at position 2. Now it has been connected to ground. So s of t is the signal which is measured in between the ground and the point, reference point. Now this is called the reference point. Okay, likewise we are getting infinite number of pulses and so on up to infinity, and this will up to and so on up to infinity. Okay. Now this is about this is how we are going to replace the ideal sampler with the practical one. Now this is a practical sampler. Always we are preferring this one, not ideal sampler. Not ideal sampler. Like the ideal machine transformer. Ideal transformer is also there, but ideal transformer does not exist at all. But we need to consider the approximate circuit model for drawing equivalent circuit of ideal transformer. Okay, there is no ideal transformer, but you will study the conditions for ideal transformer. Likewise, there is no ideal device existing in the universe, but sometimes as far as the analysis is concerned, we are assuming that device is ideal, right? Now see here, just now we have drawn how we are going to get the series of impulses from minus infinity to plus infinity. Here the switch is connected to position 1 for a time tau, and it is grounded for a period of t. Now see here, if we are getting, just wait a moment. Now see, if you are getting an impulse means obviously the switch is at the position 1. So just now I told you that the magnitude is equal to 1. If you are not having or if your signal is grounded, or if the switch is grounded for a period of capital T. Okay. Now here one important point you should remember. So as far as the sampling time is concerned, so this is capital T, capital T, capital T. So peak to peak. Okay, so this one complete cycle will denote this one complete cycle. One complete cycle will denote the sampling time period, not only this one or not only this one. The combination of this plus this is equal to capital T. Now in this case also, here The DC voltage is or DC voltage signal has been replaced with the sinusoidal signal. Sinusoidal, already we know that sinusoidal signal is a periodic signal. So Fourier series can exist. So Fourier series can be possible. Okay. Now if you multiply this x of t with the delta of t, so you will see here this is x of t multiplied by s of t. So what you will get? You will get xs of t, xs of t. Now see here, this is impulse signal and this is the x of t, that is a given sinusoidal signal. If you multiply x of t with s of t, obviously you are getting this type of signal, that is sampled signal, right? So this is the basic information you need to know before starting the derivation part, right? Now see here, the output xs of t can be obtained by multiplying x of t with the s of t. Already in the ideal sampling case, we have seen that we are applying x of t as a one of the input to the multiplier, and the delta of t is applied as another input to the multiplier. But in this particular case, you are replacing the delta t of t with the s of t, delta t of t with the s of t. So that is why this signal, this sampled signal can be obtained by multiplying x of t, that is input signal, with the s of t. So since s of t is a periodic signal, it can be expressed by a Fourier series. Now, what is S of t? S of t is which consists of series of impulses from minus infinity to plus infinity. So, for each and every time period, you will have the same shape of the waveform. Okay, so that is why it is said to be periodic. So, whenever you are saying a particular signal is said to be periodic, means obviously the Fourier series can be possible. Okay, so likewise, so S of t with the use of complex exponential Fourier series representation of S of t is given by this one. Integral, summation of n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity Cn into e power j n omega t, where Cn is equal to 1 by t into integral minus. See, once again I am repeating, if you are not familiar with the Fourier transforms and Fourier series, you could not able to understand even a single line in this particular sampling theorem. So that is the importance of Fourier series and Fourier transforms. Everywhere we are applying the Fourier series and Fourier transforms for analyzing the signal's behavior. So in the previous case and this present case and the future case also, we are using the same Fourier series representations. So Fourier series is of three types: trigonometric Fourier series, cosine Fourier series representation, complex exponential Fourier series representation. In the earlier case of sampling, we have used complex Fourier series expansion, and similarly in this case also we are using the same complex exponential Fourier series. So likewise, where Cn is equal to 1 by t into integral minus t by 2 to t by 2, s of t into e power minus j omega into n into t into dt. Now what is s of t? S of t is equal to already now see here, the signal s of t can be expressed as a sum of series of pulses having width tau, and s of t is equal to. Now let us verify whether this particular signal is obtained or not. Okay, just by drawing one pulse, and we have considered only one pulse. Now see here I am considering, one pulse here, only one pulse. But as far as the train is concerned, means you will have the impulses which are defined from minus infinity to plus infinity. Each and every pulse is having some finite duration. Okay, but to understand easily, I am considering a single pulse which is defined at 0. Now see here, so this is s of t. So signal starts at 0. Now the pulse duration is equal to tau. Okay, now this is t. Now consider k is equal to 0. Now what you will get if you consider k is equal to 0? Now substitute k is equal to 0 in this. What you will have? You will have only p of t. Now this is the case. Suppose if we consider k is equal to 1, now what you will get? T minus 2t. Similarly, p minus t, p of t minus 3t. See, every time that signal is delayed by t units, okay, t units. So up to this is tau. Now up to this is the capital T. Okay, always you should consider peak to peak value, not only the single pulse. Even though this is equal to 0, but you should consider this also. So what happens if again from T, you will have one more impulse. Now this is 2T. So this is 0. This is also equal to 0. Now again at 2T, you will have one more signal. So this is 3T. So likewise, you are getting a series of pulses of having some pulse duration that is equal to tau. Our pulse duration means nothing but width, width tau, defined from minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, so this is if you add all the impulses defined from minus infinity to plus infinity, you will get this generalized expression. This is generalized expression for S of t. Okay, that you should remember. Right now, here P of t is determined. P of t is equal to determined. So just now we have discussed that which is defined from 0 to tau, 0 to tau. Sorry. So this is capital T. This is tau. The pulse width or pulse duration is equal to tau. So this is 0 and this is a t by 2 or tau by 2. T by 2 or tau by 2, whatever it may be. Whatever it may be. So that is defined. So from this point to this point, always you are having the impulse of magnitude equal to 1. So for other value, it is equal to 0. So if I am considering the total pulse from 0 to t is equal to tau, half tau by 2 is nothing but this one. Okay, so 0 to t by, or you should also consider this like this. This is minus tau by 2. This is plus tau by 2. This is a rectangular pulse. Rectangular pulse. Already we have seen this type of signals in the chapter number 1. So from minus tau by 2 to plus tau by 2, you will have the magnitude is equal to 1. And for the remaining values of time, that signal is not defined. So here, this is a pulse sampling. Pulse sampling. We are not going to say that is a impulse. Why? Because that is having some pulse duration. So you can consider that as a rectangular pulses which are defined from minus infinity to plus infinity, right? So that is why this is the basic definition of P by T. See, if you are not following the contents thoroughly, it is not possible to understand what I am saying. What I am saying. Only if you are familiar with the concepts of the earlier sessions, that means unit number 1 and unit number 2, then only you can able to understand the words or the technical contents what I am speaking in the present sessions. Okay, without the fundamentals, you can't do anything. It is not possible to understand even a single line. Okay, if you don't know the definition of rectangular pulse, or if you don't know the definition of Gaussian function, or if you don't know the definition of the pulse function or unit step function, whatever it may be, it is not possible to understand the concepts. Okay, నేనేం చెప్పినా ఒక రామాయణ మహాభారత గ్రంథాల్లో ఉంటాయండి, అంతేగాని you should not able to understand even a single point. That is a very very important. See, this is interlinked topics. These are interlinked chapters. Once if you are familiar with the unit number 1 and unit number 2, then only you can able to understand unit number 3. Once if you are familiar with 1, 2, 3, you can able to understand, or you can able to apply the concepts to unit number 4. Unit number 5 is different, unit number 6 is also different. Please be very careful while analyzing the subject. Now see here. So just now we have defined P of t, the pulse, and we have Cn. Now we are going to determine the value of Cn. That is a complex exponential Fourier series coefficient. So Cn can be defined, or Cn can be obtained as this one. So Cn is equal to 1 by t into integral minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 s of t into e power minus j omega. See, sometimes I'm using this with the omega also, but don't worry, you can use any of the frequencies omega into t. Now what is s of t? See here, from minus infinity, so 1 by t into minus infinity. Why I am substituting minus infinity to plus infinity? That rectangular pulse has been not been constrained or limited to only minus tau by 2 to plus tau by 2. It can be extended from minus infinity to plus infinity. But as far as the analysis is concerned, we should easily analyze that signal. Means obviously we should consider the easy values of time. So that is why I have defined that P of t is equal to 1 from minus tau by 2 to tau by 2. Okay. Likewise, you need to repeat the same process from minus infinity to plus infinity. Now this s of t can be replaced with P of t. Okay. Now see here, integral minus infinity to plus infinity x of t into e power minus j n omega t. Now you just compare this expression with this one. Now what is this one? X of n into omega s, or omega, x of n omega. That is the point here. How can we obtain P of n into omega s? Simply we are relating this expression with this expression. Obviously you will get x of n omega. Okay. Now Cn is equal to this one. So where P of n omega is equal to P of n omega, x of omega is equal to. Now what is x of omega? What is x of omega? So x of omega is equal to the Fourier transform of x of t. See, you should remember all these concepts. Already we know x of omega is the Fourier transform of x of t. Now instead of x of omega, you will have x of n omega. Now instead of x of t, you will have p of t at omega is equal to n into omega s. See, you should compare the unknown terms with the known terms. Now just you substitute that x of t is equal to 1 by t into, this is the inverse Fourier transform of that x. Okay, inverse Fourier transform of that function. Now see here, by considering this one, x of j omega, the Fourier transform of the Fourier excess of t is equal to 1, the Fourier transform of 1 by t multiplied by exponential term n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. So this is s of t. So initially we know that excess of t is equal to, excess of t is equal to x of t multiplied by s of t. Okay. Now apply Fourier transform for this excess of t. Apply Fourier transform of this excess of t. Now the Fourier transform of excess of t is equal to excess of j omega. Fourier transform of excess of t is equal to excess of j omega. That is the case. Now, the Fourier transform of multiplication of x of t with s of t. So s of t is this one, multiply this with x of t. So what you will get? So 1 by t, you can take that 1 by t common from the summation, or you can take out the summation. Why? Because it is completely independent on the summation limits. Sigma n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. P of n into omega s. See, there is no change at all. Now, x of t into e power j n omega t. If you clearly see this, I think you will have properties of Fourier transforms. So at that time, I told you the importance of properties. Again, you need not derive them. See, once if you are familiar with the properties, once if you want to, or once if you know how to obtain the derivation regarding particular property of Fourier transform. So whenever you want to use the properties directly, you can write down, since we know that the Fourier transform of exponential function is equal to this one. So directly you can substitute that in the expression. Again, in that particular case, you need not do the derivation. That is possible only if you know how to derive the proof for the particular statement, right? So likewise, we again, as how, what is the property of the Fourier transform? So which property we are going to utilize here? This is frequency shifting property. Frequency shifting property, right? So in the frequency shifting property, we have taken right hand side and we are going to obtain the LHS part, right? See, please do practice more number of problems. Do practice the concepts what we are studying in the regular classroom. Why? Because if you are unable to understand those concepts, obviously it is not possible to understand the upcoming topics. The upcoming topics. Signals and systems is very very important subject for your GATE exams also. Sometimes directly you are getting 5 to 6 marks in your GATE exam. 5 to 6 marks directly from this signals and systems in your GATE exam. That is the importance of the signals and systems. Now see here, see after obtaining frequency response of this particular pulse sampling, frequency response of the pulse sampling, if you draw the frequency spectrum, it is looks like the triangular waveforms like this. Okay, so don't worry. The Fourier transform of a rectangular pulse, already we have seen that rectangular pulse which is defined from minus tau by 2 to plus tau by 2. If you consider the uh, Fourier transform of the rectangular pulse, obviously, so this is the final expression. This is the final expression. If you want to draw the Fourier spectrum directly, you are going to obtain the waveforms like this. But this is not required. But this is not required. You just end up the natural sampling at the previous case, the previous step. So at this step, and directly you can draw the waveform. You can draw the waveform like this. This is enough. This is the frequency spectrum of the signal what you have sampled. Okay. Now that's the end of the session. Students, do you have any doubts? Do you have any doubts regarding today's topic? See, please do practice. Please do practice more number of problems. Please do understand the concepts what we have studied. See, this is not a completely theoretical subject, or this is not like any other theoretical subject. This is a problematic as well as theory. Once if you are thorough with the theory concepts, obviously you can able to solve the derivations as well as the problems. Otherwise, it is not possible to understand even a single one. Okay, so the remaining three chapters are also very easy. Laplace transforms and jet transforms. Again, you people are familiar with the concepts of Laplace transforms and jet transforms. Why? Because already you have studied those concepts in your engineering mathematics, right? Again, we are going to see the same topics in this subject also. I think Laplace transforms have been done in your network theory. Already you have studied about this Laplace transforms in your network theory. Okay, so that's the end of the session. If you have any doubts, you please drop a message in through WhatsApp, or you can always contact me with the phone number. Already my number is available with you in the group also. If you have any doubts, please just put your registered number and drop a message in the WhatsApp. so that I can able to do. Right? Thank you.